Looking back, from my perspective now, being at CCS really helped shape my worldview. And now I realize it more than I did back then, obviously. I remember my first college exam. We were about to take the test, and for whatever reason, I was expecting us to stop and pray. But then I realized, no, they don't do that here. But it was so ingrained in me that no matter what we were doing, we were so prayerful in our daily lives. And I look back at that, and I think that's so powerful as a child to have that expectation of prayer works, and prayer is powerful, and prayer needs to be a part of our everyday lives. That really has been foundational in my life. How I see people, and how I see relationships, and how I see the workplace, and how I see politics, and where that worldview plays out in my life now, being a school teacher in a public school. Obviously, I can't speak these things out over these kids in my day-to-day, but it really has shaped my perspective and how I view my interactions with these kids. Being a positive role model and being a consistent figure for them, and loving them as Christ would love them as best as I can in this setting.
Before coming to CCS, I made some not very good friends. I wasn't a nice person, and I was like, I don't like who I'm becoming. I don't like where it could possibly lead to. I want out. I hate it here. Transitioning from public school into this Christian school, I got back on the right path again. I found God again. Being able to see how God and the lessons about him are weaved into all of the academics was like mind-blowing to me. I was like, oh my gosh, he's everywhere. I played soccer for many years previously, but then when I was about 10, I developed ulcerative colitis, so I couldn't be that active anymore, and especially with bigger schools, bigger public schools, they are a lot more intensive sports. But doing it here, it was a lot more of like, I care for you. Just because you're not, like, you can't do as much as others doesn't mean that you can't be on the team. And that was really great coming here and being welcomed and accepted like that. It was perfect. God knew exactly what I needed, and I think it really helped prepare me for the future steps that I would take to where I am now. I just got back from my YWAM-DTS in England, and our outreach was in Ukraine, Hungary, and Greece. I'm a receptionist at a chiropractic center. I am volunteering a lot, whether it's in Kids Church. I'm leading a small group, which I hope to grow in the fall, and I will also be volunteering with YWAM Salem in the fall. Yeah, coming here really opened a lot of doors and helped me find myself a bit more and create more lasting friendships and relationships.
Crosshill shaped who I am as a person because I came at such a young age. A leader is such a desired trait, especially in the workforce, and I got to experience being a leader in so many different ways that it's like an old trick for me, which is really nice because a lot of people don't have that. I know that no matter what's going on in my life or where I'm at in my walk with God, that at the core, I am still one of his children. I love him, he loves me. That's never going to change. That idea of love as the basis in everything was really instilled at Crosshill. If you give to these kids will grow up, go through the school, be influenced in an extremely positive way, and then come and give back so that the school can just get better and better and better for each generation. These are very wonderful people that just want to help the students grow up and be the best adults they can be and really spread God's love. And I think that if you have an environment that is very conducive for that, you're setting them up for success. I went to Pacific University and just graduated from there with a bachelor's in education and a minor in communication sciences and disorders. I'm going to be starting the graduate program for speech-language pathology at Pacific. I'd like to continue throwing the javelin and hopefully one day make it to the Olympics, but we'll see.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, I felt like there was definitely something God was doing in my life. outside of school, I had a relationship with a guy named Jesse Poley. He was a soccer player, and he played for the Cascade Surge at the time, and he lived with us during the summertime. And I remember we had a lot of opportunity to talk with each other, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that were happening at Willamette Christian. It was an important time for me spiritually. It was when I really learned what it meant to be a follower of Jesus, and not just, it wasn't just my parents' faith, it became my own faith, and that was incredibly important to me during that time of my life. And I think my time at Willamette Christian really prepared me for going into a secular school. There were just so many things that I felt like I was taught, again, through chapel or through our Bible teaching, or just through the relationships that we had with, and the mentorship that happened with teachers, be a part of my life even beyond that time in middle school and into my time to ask how things are going, how am I being supported. Today, I am married. I have 4 kids. I have 2 kids that are older that we fostered and then adopted a couple of years ago, 2 little ones that are biological. I am the director of a youth soccer club here in Salem and trying to invest into kids' lives through sports, and honestly use a lot of the things that I learned, whether it's relationally or spiritually, during my time in middle school. I just feel really passionate about soccer because I feel like I have a platform to reach out to people that may not ever set foot inside of a church, but will set foot on a soccer field. And because of that, I get to show them God's love, get to hire other people who also believe the same things and want the same things for the kids and the families. And sometimes we get chances to share the gospel with them too. So that's really why I'm passionate about what I'm doing. So yeah.
Crosshill does a better job than any public school could of sheltering the bad influences that often can just creep their way into high school and middle school and elementary school even. And they kind of help you focus more on scholastics, but also along with that discipleship. Then that's not a tool that you really get. Mentoring you can get in public schools, but the day-to-day, I know my teachers and they care about me and they pray for me every morning, and that, like, feeling that as you're going to school and knowing that you're protected spiritually is like a real strong feeling that I felt when I went to Crosshill. I got plugged into worship here pretty much immediately and started getting kind of mentored and trained by a teacher here, and taught me a lot about where your heart should be for worship, and that's changed pretty much my approach to worship as a whole, how I lead rehearsals and practices and before service prayers and stuff like that. I never would have done most of that before. I'm studying Christian ministries at Corbin University, doing my volunteer work at Church on the Hill's youth group, high school youth group, leading and worship leading there. It's so weird to me. I was only at Crosshill for a year and a half, and it's like, I remember it being like 6 years of just like taking all these classes and meeting all these people and building all these relationships. It was like so impactful that I just can't believe it was only a year and a half. People ask me, oh, where'd you go to high school? I say Crosshill Christian School. But if anything, I went to my other school more. But it doesn't feel like, that's not where I feel like I went to high school.